is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty, and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I thought about it, long and hard, the pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything. And at the end of the day, you've got to make up your own damn mind. I have conviction. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
All right, legends. Welcome to another live stream. I'm sharing the wrong screen over here. Let me do that. Right, there we go. Right, legends. Let me just take this here out the way. There we go. Let me put the music ever so softly here in the background. Welcome to the live stream. Remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. And as you can see, small little long position, small little scalp, nothing too serious. And let's analyze the price of Bitcoin. I must say, guys, I did expect a little bit of a sweep over here. Okay, I really expected a little bit of a sweep here at the lows. And I didn't get it. I actually entered a short over here in this zone. Okay. And for those of you, the pro members, you know, I entered a short I took profits on the way down to protect my stop loss. I left my stop loss above the high because I didn't want the price to do that and then fall down and stop me out. So I took enough profits to cover my stop loss so that if I get stopped out, I don't lose anything. Okay, because I was really hoping for the lows to be claimed again, and we did not claim the lows. Very disturbing price action here to the downside. On some exchanges like Binance over here, we did actually tap the low. Okay, you can see we did claim the low ever so slightly, like literally by a couple of dollars. But on other exchanges we did not. We made a higher low. So truncated fifth wave here to the downside. Not really what I wanted to see. Okay, anyways, now we got the momentum here to the upside. And the question is it going to continue? Also, as per the thumbnail, I see a lot of people posting at the moment that the low is in. Okay, it's rock and roll. If you look at this little structure, okay, there's a chance. And for me, this is my lowest probable scenario at the moment. We have a low, we have a high, and for now, we have a higher low. So from a market structure perspective, well, you know, you now want to see a higher high, and you want to see a higher low, and you want to see continuation to the upside, right? Just to keep it simple. I'm not sure if I'm going to jump into all the reasons why I think it's the lowest probable scenario, but we need to keep it in mind, guys. This is the scenario that's going to take us to $130,000. Right, we have finished a three-wave structure ABC. Okay, we have formed a 1 2 3 4 5, and maybe we have a WXY here to the downside. ABC, truncated fifth wave, not a pretty structure. Okay, and this is why I'm not giving the scenario the highest probability, is because this move up here, there's a couple of issues. I'm not going to go through all of them. And now we have another couple of issues here at the bottom with this little C wave. Okay, we have another couple of issues. We could also say it's a WXY. Maybe, anyways, guys. But you know, we have formed a higher low. So this is what I see most people are referring to at the moment. Okay. Also, the low was made after the minimum requirement from a timing perspective. The low was made after the 0.382. So yes, the bulls does have a chance over here. Three-wave structure down, five-wave structure up, three-wave structure down, higher low. Okay, now you want to see continuation to the upside. Obviously, you have a clear invalidation. As soon as this low is claimed, okay, we'll be looking at lower levels, and we will discuss some of those levels that I am watching here to the downside. Guys, this is really higher time frame stuff over here. You know, I'm a scalper. I get in at small, you know, at the levels here to the, we actually took a nice little scalp trade here to the upside together this morning in the Legends Pro community. I'll go through that in a second as well. Okay, so on Friday, I did do a little bit of higher time frame analysis. Okay, so I'm just going to hang around here on the 1 hour for now, because I feel like a broken record, repeating myself every single time. Guys, it's not time yet. You know, for those of you that watched Friday's live stream, if you haven't, I did some higher time frame analysis. Go and check it out. Okay. From a higher time frame analysis perspective, the probabilities are still higher to take the low again. It's just a game of probabilities at the end of the day, you know. So ideally what you do not want to see is this high to be claimed. Okay, so you still want the lows to be claimed again, and this is where I will be looking for longing opportunities where the bull market could potentially continue to the upside. Based on this structure over here, for now, the probabilities are still high that we are going to take out this high. But I am not too convinced that this is going to be the structure that takes us there. Okay, based on Friday's analysis, and I'm not going to go through all of that again, but in the most bullish case scenario, we have to entertain it because it has not been invalidated. So let me take the time fib here out the way just to clean it up. So basically, okay, I've got some numbers. You know, I'm teaching people how to count to 5, right? I've got some numbers here to the upside. What you would like to see is a move up, 3-wave corrective structure, 5-wave move to the upside, 3-wave corrective structure, 5 move to the upside, 3-wave corrective structure, 5 move to the upside, and around about $130,000. I mean, it's just estimated targets based on local targets for 5-wave structures to the upside. But if the low is in, well, now you want to see impulses to the upside. You want to see 5 waves up, 3 waves down, 5 waves up, 3 waves down. You guys get the picture. So basically, this is now your wave 1, this is your 2, and now we need to start with the 3rd wave here to the upside, which is the most aggressive, the most bullish, and volume needs to start kicking in, which it has not done so yet. Okay, so in this momentum here to the upside, what you would like to see is a 5-wave move up, a 3-wave move down. That will be my clue. That is where I will get in. Okay, because there's a couple of bearish case scenarios that you can still get the move up, the move down, a move up, and then you go and claim the low. So that's why you just have to take profits where you're supposed to take profits, and you leave a little moon back open for higher or lower levels, depending on whether you're shorting or longing. Okay, let me just see who is here in the chat section. Joe SGR, welcome. Dewald the Clairvoyant. Stefan 1, as always, appreciate your support. Who else? R Pink, always feel better after watching a Dewald stream. Thanks, brother, much appreciated. I appreciate you being here as well. Luca, hello legends, welcome to the stream. Mr. Join in for quick updates and setups. Right, Mike, Dewald, hi Stuffer 1, hope all is well. Yeah, we all well. We need more juice off the lower mattress to get those highs. Yes, we need to bounce on that trampoline. We need to bounce on that mattress so that we can bounce higher. Okay, it's just, guys, I mean, it's just the game of probabilities, but I can tell you guys now, whether price does this or whether price does this, I will be trading the zone from a day trading perspective. Yes, from an investment perspective, from a spot bag perspective, it would be great to get some upwards momentum. I'll just benefit to the way on the way to the upside. If we do take out the lows over here, and there's some critical areas that I am watching, that is where I will open up some swing positions. But I'm not feeling any swing at the moment. I'm not feeling a swing position here at the moment. Right, and some of them you miss, some of them you don't take because it just doesn't make sense according to your own analysis. Right, so legends, for now, okay, from a trend line perspective, you know, let's keep it simple. Do I have it? No, not that one. There was a mini one. Not that one. Let's put on the trends over here. Okay, so let's look at a couple of trends. Right, so the big one that needs to break here to the upside is, you know, you want this trend to be broken. You want high time frame candles to close above the trend. Okay, 4 hour, 8 hour, 12 hour, preferably daily candles needs to close outside, you know, and then we can say, well, okay, now this is starting to look interesting. Are we going to go up, or is it going to fake out and break back to the downside? So definitely an area where I will be paying attention. We have massive resistance over here, massive resistance. Okay, and I'm going to be paying attention to this level once we get here, because it has trend resistance, you have horizontal resistance. So I want to see high time frame candle closes above, just from a simplicity perspective. I can tell you guys now, I'm not going to miss this move. Okay, I will get in, maybe I'll get in later, but I'm still going to benefit from the momentum to the upside. Right, now, okay, we have broken the mini trend. Okay, we have broken the mini trend here to the upside. Definitely, okay, for those of you that did get in, maybe you had your trend over there. Okay, maybe you did not adjust your trend. Okay, maybe you had your trend over there. Well, it has broken out. So from a trend line perspective, just keep it simple. Okay, maybe price comes back for a retest. Okay, forms that higher low, and it continues to the upside. Nice little 3-wave move. The question is it going to be A, B, C, or is it going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's what I want to see. I want to see a 5-wave structure to the upside, because it is then the retracement that becomes very interesting. If there's a 3-wave structure to the upside and it rejects, Can you guys see that rejection point? So it's about how price is going to move to the upside. That will give me the clue. I told the Legends community this morning, the pro community, okay, if it's going to be an impulse to the upside, and let's say the low's in, okay, it's done. The market is just gonna catch most traders off guard. Well, I don't know if it's gonna catch most traders off guard, because I see a lot of people are calling that the low is in. We need to load up on our altcoin bags. You know, we pack your bags. It's ready to moon here to the upside. Well, I want to see, how does it climb to the upside? Is it going to do this? Okay. And then reject, claim the lows? Or is it going to be a 1, 2, 3? You want it to break out. Okay, then you can have 4 and 5. Then that retracement 1, 2, 3, that is where I will get in. But I want to see a 5-wave move to the upside. Okay, even more locally over here, guys, and this is now the trade that I think is going to be interesting to get into, is that I'm not going to try and count this mess. Okay, it's not my cup of tea anymore to go into the 1 minute, 5 minute time frame and make sense of this entire mess here to the downside. Not really my cup of tea. Okay, so I want to see a little bit more choppiness here to the upside. Ideally, I want to see a little bit more of this. I want to see a little bit more of this. Okay, because of this mess. I want to see a little bit more of this. And then if it rejects in a 3-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, this is where I'm planning to long. Okay, find support above the highs, right? You broke out with high volume, you broke out, you come back, you retest the scene of the crime, you do not take the lows. I want to take advantage of this move. That's the move that I want to take advantage of. It's simple, guys. Okay, I get in, I get out. That's a day trading setup for me. Maybe it's going to last a couple of days. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I will take profits to the upside as soon as you hit resistance, TP1, TP2. And maybe I'll leave a small bag open for higher levels. Because I know that there is massive resistance inside of this zone. Okay, basically this entire zone over here. We have massive resistance. I think we have a weekly point of control. We have weekly levels. Let me just go check that out. Here we go. Daily levels, weekly levels, point of controls. Okay, let's dirty up the kitchen. But you guys can see this zone over here at $115,000, 500. This zone, can you guys see? So there's a chance that this structure can still move to the trend. It can still move here to the trend. You get that fake out, that choppiness. It doesn't want to break the level, and you start trading back below the trend. And you fall down, you claim the lows. Remember, from a trend line perspective, if you have a fake out, there's a high chance, if you have a fake out, you're going to claim the low. High chance. So you don't want this to be a fake out. You want it to break out, okay, and hold this level. It needs to hold this level. So shorting opportunity, definitely. Longing opportunity, definitely. That's what I'm watching at the moment. And as you can see, we have a weekly point of control, we have a daily level, and we have a point of control of this entire range over here. So big resistance, massive resistance over here. Question is, are we even going to get there before we claim the low? Right, we'll just have to see. Okay, so more locally, guys, more locally. Let's look here onto the 5 minute time frame. So there's a small little scalp trade that I got into this morning. Now again, I'm playing a little long here to the upside. Small scalps, guys, a small scalp. Okay, so I saw the breakout this morning and I had my trend. Was it over here? That's where I had my trend. First one I saw was over there. And I told the legends, I'm not really feeling it, okay? Because if I think this is where I had my FIP. This is the trade that I was looking at. Just a small little scalp trade, guys. Nothing serious, okay? Oops, let's just redo that. Okay, so this is the FIP that I was watching, and this was my first trend. And then price chopped out of here. Price broke out of here, okay? Can you see that? Price broke out the trend. So there's a couple of reasons why I did not take the trade. Firstly, I just, you know, sometimes you just need to trust your gut. I didn't feel it. I was just like, this looks like a you have a structure down and you have a structure up. And then you have a structure that did not, okay, it did almost claim the lows, but it's a teeny weeny structure. It just didn't look right from a structural perspective. I want to see a proper connector wave and another leg to the downside. And ideally what I would have liked to see is for the 0.382 to be claimed. So I told the legends I would rather want to see something like this, and then I'm going to play the breakout. But we have the trend from a front running perspective. So I did not enter this breakout. Also, because the local move to the upside did not look impulsive. Okay, if you zoom in here, what on earth is this? This is not impulsive. That. You want to count a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, what is this? This was really confusing. It looked like it was still part of the corrective structure. So what I did is I went back to the pro community and I said, well, I like this trend more. That's the trend that I like. It looks better. Okay. And then we got a sweep of the lows. I was waiting. Can you see that order block? I was waiting for the 0.382. But I know the market loves to front run. So I played this breakout. Because now this looks better. You have a movement to the downside, you have a movement to the upside, and you have a larger structure to the downside. So this looks better as a three-wave structure. It's more in balance. And also from a Fibonacci perspective, it balanced better. Okay, so that was the trading setup. And I'm not sure if anyone took it. Right, target the highs, stop goes below the low, you play the breakout, trade played out. That's all you want, guys. The trade played out. Done. Beautiful. And then we reject it at the 1-to-1 extension. Okay. Because then people ask me, okay, Dewald, if I missed the long, where do I short? And I said, okay, if I had to guess, I'm not really feeling the shorts inside of this structure, but if I had to guess, that is the FIB extension that I will keep an eye on the levels. And you reverse it back to the upside. Okay, which is still valid, by the way. This FIB extension is still valid. And then where we got the rejection, let me just take this FIB out the way, is at the 1-to-1 extension, because I said we're going to reject yeah, or yeah. And then we claimed the highs, we reject it. But when we reject it in a three-wave structure. So I had another trend, and guess what? I played this breakout. Okay, so for those of you that saw in the beginning of the screen when I shared my exchange, well, I'm playing this little breakout just to claim the highs. Okay, there's a good chance it's going to come here to the 1.618. But I'm going to take some profits here and I'm going to close my position over here, because this is a very important level. And I think it's a good chance we are going to, if not here, if we don't get a rejection here, I think there's a good chance we're going to get a rejection at the 1.618. Because that 1.618 also aligns beautifully. Okay, if I zoom out a little bit and I take a fib, guys, you know, technical analysis takes work. You have to put in the work. You have to do the technicals properly, okay? I know it looks a little bit messy, but if I zoom in here, okay, you can see that that 1.618 also aligns with the 786. 1.618. Okay, so if it wants to continue, definitely an area where you can reject, where I plan to close my trade. Well, this little mini trade over here. Right. Mr. Andy, welcome to the live stream. Irina, I see you as here. Andy, the absolute master, Andy, I agree with you. I watched Andy's update to the Legends Pro community this morning as well. I mean, guys, you know, on Saturday, I posted an update. I was inside of a short. This was, I'm not sure if I can share that here, but this is what I was looking for, guys. Okay. I played a short right over here. Okay. I had my stop here by the highs, and I was waiting to claim the lows. That was my trading setup. On Saturday, I posted an update and I said, guys, I'm still in the short. Okay, I'm just waiting. I already took profits to cover my stop loss. I took enough profits to cover my stop loss, but I didn't want to move my stop loss because I knew that price could do this. Stops me out and then it leaves without me. So I left my stop loss. I drag it down ever so slightly where I still felt that I was in the safe zone. I shared it with the Legends Pro. And price didn't claim the lows, And what was interesting is every dip was met with bullish CVD, bullish against these pivots. There was just continuous bullish CVD building up against every single pivot, and then we had to move to the upside. Okay, I got stopped out with no loss. Most important is trading is about how you protect your capital. Okay, right. But I think what made this move so confusing is, let me zoom out a little bit. And I agree with Andy, because I saw Andy's update to the Legends Pro community as well. So let me clean up the kitchen a little bit over here. Is when you count this move to the downside, yes, one could argue that there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's say that's 5 over there. 5. You have a 5-wave structure to the downside. It's just, you know, that low, claimed on some exchanges, not claimed, you know, because now when you remember guys, each move has to have 5 waves inside of it. And this is where it became confusing. Well, not confusing, I was expecting one more low. Right? When you look at this little structure, you have 1, 2, 3. I was waiting for 4, 5. I was waiting for that. That's where I wanted to take profits from the short that I entered over here. And then price just built bullish CVD, and it continued up. But we do have this little pivot, very confusing, truncated pivot on some exchanges, okay, that you can say, well, maybe that is 5. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you're starting nested 1, 2s here to the upside. So in a nested 1, 2 scenario, I'm not going to go and count all of those structures there to the downside, because it can be counted as a 3-wave structure, by the way, as well. But now if you see a mess like this, and then you have this candle, well, then you have to refer to it as the 3rd wave. So whatever happened here can be a 1 and a 2, okay? Whatever happened here is a 1 and a 2. Let's just keep it simple. You have a 1, you have a 2. You have the most amount of volume in the recent move up, so we have to label this a 3. Now, because you have this mess, okay, now you expect a little bit of a messy structure here to the upside as well. It needs to slow down, it needs to lose momentum, and then it falls to the downside. This is the next opportunity that I'm looking for, another bounce back to the upside. So I am expecting price to start rolling over soon. There's not, I don't see a high probability in price just doing this. And it just continues. God candle to the upside. Okay? Because you have already the move. You already have the big move with high volume. So it's perfectly fine if price still does this and then it rolls over. And it needs to correct with a 3-wave structure. Continuation to the upside. I'll be analyzing the structure to the downside. Okay? Obviously it hasn't happened yet. But what I would like to see is a 3-wave move back to the downside. Okay. So, Andy, I'm not sure if you're still here, but yeah, I mean, this, okay, I was waiting for this, got stopped out at break even. Okay, it is what it is. Right, okay, it looks like my mini trade here is playing out, guys, because, you know, you need to learn the structures, guys. You need to learn the structures, okay? When I see a 3-wave structure, I know this was not an easy one, but when you see a 3-wave structure and you have a trend and it breaks out, high chance you're going to claim the high. When I see a pivot and I see a 3-wave structure, I get excited, guys. When I say 3-wave structures and I see a breakout, I take the trade because now, look, it wants to go and claim the high. Okay, so I can scalp these mini ranges, okay? Small little scalp trades, guys. It's nothing hectic, okay? It's, what I mean, $500 in profit. It's not a 3-figure trade, right? It's $500 here, $1,000 here, $2,000 here. Just scalping the range until I get clear direction to go a little bit bigger. ICP alarm going off. Okay, I will go through ICP, ETH. We will go and look at some altcoins as well. I know I have received a lot of requests to go and look at ICP. We will go and look at that in a moment. So for now, the best area for a rejection with the highest amount of volume is the 786. Okay, So just keeping it simple, guys. Just keeping it simple. From the high to the low. Okay, the best area that I see for price to potentially start slowing down, okay, is here at the 786. Right, so pay attention, and it could get messy, okay? Double top, triple top, it could get messy here to the upside. Ideally, you don't want to claim the 0.88 because that will increase the probabilities of claiming the high. So you want to see the rejection inside of this zone. Also, you already had the biggest move with volume here to the upside, so you would expect now this mess, okay, to be a little bit messier to the upside. You have a messy structure. Okay, you get a messy structure, it falls down here to the downside. And then I want to see a three-way, A, B, C. I want to see a three-wave move. Maybe it bulls, okay, that little bit of that pennant here to the downside. Okay, let's say it rejects. Let's say we get exactly what, well, let's say I get exactly what I want. Get the rejection, maybe a double top, triple top, doesn't really matter. And it falls down here in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes back up in a three-wave move, okay? And then it goes another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? It builds that nice little trend. Also that little bullish pennant, okay? It builds a bullish pennant, but it has a three-wave structure, 5, 3, 5. That is where I'm going to get interested, find support above the highs. Also, this little order block could be interesting. I'll just have to analyze as it plays out, okay? You could also have a trend. You could have a trend, play the breakout, because this could form a larger three-wave structure to the upside. And I'll go through some of the scenarios that do support this potential move. Most bearish case scenario is we reject at the 786. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a A, B, and this is a C wave here to the upside. A, B, C. It rejects and it falls. Bang. In a 5-wave move. It falls aggressively. Okay. I need the price action to play out. Okay. So I want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It already needs to be at the trend when that 5-wave structure forms. Because you can then get that 3-wave move up. Everyone's like, ooh, we're going. But there's a 5-wave move down. It creates a 3-wave move up and another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So it's all about how price is going to retrace. Is it going to be a fast retracement to the downside in a 5-wave structure that taps the trend? Or is it going to be a slow grinding structure, sideways, overlapping? Okay, that's what you want to see before you play momentum back to the upside. Dewald, could you please do some analysis on ETH? Yes, Shan, I will do some analysis on ETH as well. Joan, hi, Dewald. Joni, welcome. Joan, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but I know Joan is an amazing Elliott wave counter, especially here on the smaller time frames. I know that he's the type of person that will take the time and go and count all of this. I think you reach a phase in your trading career where you're just like, you're not interested anymore. Okay. You just look at things, you look at these little clues, whatever happened here. Okay. And there's a clue. So this could be either an A, B, C. Okay. That's still in the formation here to the upside. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it rejects. Okay. So I really rely on the biggest structures. For me, counting the 5 minutes and the 1 minute here, yes, I used to do it often, okay, not anymore. I just look at key areas of support and resistances, and I can just eye the structure here, and I know, okay, well, I know what I need to see in order to take a trade to either the up or to the downside. Like this little scalp that we took here, well, that I took here this morning. I'm not sure if anyone jumped into that long from the pro community, okay. Right, now, what we can do is, I want to see, do we have a point of control here to the upside? We don't really have anything that I know of here to the upside. We have a daily at the 0.88. Okay, well, definitely still a trading opportunity. Remember, guys, just the game of probabilities. If you do claim the daily, the 0.88, you have a chance of claiming this high. Okay, so yes, if it wants to go past the 0.786 and it rejects here, okay, again, I'm going to look at the retracement. Is it 3-wavy? Is it 5-wavy? Whatever the case might be, because it could come down to the 0.618 and then go and claim the high. Okay, we'll see. There's just a lot that still needs to happen before we get there. Okay, so my trade is still on its way up, almost at TP area. And now that we've claimed the highs, that's my rule, guys. Now that we've claimed the local highs, I'm just taking a little bit of profits. Okay, actually 30% profit. Take some profits. That's what we do. There we go. Okay, it's the small little scalp trade here, guys, on the 1 minute. Okay, yeah, yes, I still go into the 1 minute because I looked at this 3-wave structure here. I had my little trend. I think I still have it here. That was the one. That was the other. Where is it? Did I delete it? Anyways, guys, it was this one. Right, that was the breakout. My trading setup was as follows. Play the breakout, stop loss goes below the low. I'm targeting the high as a TP1, but I think, you know, it has the potential to get to the 786. So definitely TP1. TP2, I'm out. Okay, already took 30% profits right over here. Now you can see why it's so important to take profits at the highs, because it could fall down again. Okay, and at least I will get stopped out because I've now protected my position as well. Now I have, okay, I've protected my position as well. So if I get stopped out, at least I get stopped out with 30% profits. But I will close the remainder of the 70% over here. Okay, that's just good way to trade, is to protect your capital. Right, so 2 little scalps today, playing out to perfection so far. 2 little scalps. Right, take this out the way. Now we can go into 1 hour time frame. Let's just look at the larger structure. Okay, let's clean up the chart. Okay. Probabilities from an Elliott wave perspective. Guys, there are many, so I'm just going to go through the ones that I think carries the highest probability. Okay, so the most bullish case scenario, and remember guys, remember to smash up that like button. I wish there would be someone who would share free knowledge with which one can change his life completely. Oh wait, oh Dorpy, welcome, thanks for that comment, much appreciated. Hi Dewald, could you please do some analysis on ETH? I'll go through that in a moment. I'll also do some analysis on ICP for those of you that are interested. And Jonah, welcome, man. I've given you a nice little shout out. You've got some great Elliott wave counts that you share inside of our community on a daily basis. Thank you so much. Remember guys, if you'd like to come and trade with me, support the channel for the lowest fees, best sign-up bonuses, links are always down in the description. Okay, I've got Bluffin, currently trading on Bluffin. I've also got BTCC that I'm trading on. And Bluffin, the more you deposit, the more money gets airdropped into your account. Also, you get qualified for low trading fees if you can push up your deposit amount to VIP status 1 or 2. I think it's $25,000 for VIP 1 and $50,000 for VIP 2, and your fees get radically reduced. Okay. And weeks, that's where I do scalping at the moment. I'm going to start trading with weeks again this week very aggressively because, you know, I should have taken these trades actually on weeks because I have some insane discount on my trading fees on weeks. You also get 20% money back in your features account and 25% discount on your trading fees just by using the link down below to sign up and trading with weeks. Okay, so also if you want to join our Legends Pro community where myself and Andy do technical analysis, education, this is where you join, guys. Right, because I'm always here on the live stream saying that I spoke to the pro community this morning. Yesterday we discussed this. This is a trade that we got into. Well, if you want to have access to that information, this is the link where you need to join. Okay, right, Legends. Now, let's take the trends here out the way. Okay. Oh, beautiful trend breakout, by the way. Okay, I missed this because I was most probably sleeping. Was I sleeping? No, I was not sleeping, but I was not in front of the charts. Okay, because this happened yesterday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This breakout happened over here, but I was not in front of the charts, guys. I was spending some time with or doing some other things. Right. Okay, so on the 1 hour time frame, looking at this structure. Okay, the probabilities, like I've been saying, guys, the probabilities based on what's happening here more locally are still, we're going to come and claim this high at some point. Most bullish case scenario is the low is in. We have moved up in a 5-wave structure. This is a corrective structure, very ugly the way that it's finished over here, which actually increases the probabilities that you are going to come and take this low again. Regardless, okay, in the most bullish case scenario, you want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-wave structure here to the upside. Okay, told everyone where I'm looking to long over here, depending on how we correct. Okay, I'm not going to miss this, guys. I'm not going to miss this potential breakout here to the upside, or momentum here to the upside. Right, bearish case scenarios is, let's start with, okay, this is what could happen, guys. Okay, this is the 3-wave structure that I've now just spoken about on the smaller time frame. We have formed a 3-wave structure in a W, okay, A, B, C, contracting in a C, W. We have formed a complex corrective structure in a W, X, Y, X, Z here to the upside. Doesn't really matter, but you have still formed a corrective structure to the upside. And now we have formed the first A wave to the downside. You go up for a 1, 2, 3. Can you guys see how important the break of that trend? Okay, because that could be the B that sends you down in a C wave. So even if I get into this trade, that is why I will be taking profits to the upside, especially if you hit this resistance. Can you guys see that resistance together with horizontal, okay, trend line? Important zone, because it's either going to break out and then I'm already positioned, but I will take profits. So I will just let the moon bag ride, and depending on what I see here, okay, I can add to this position. Right, this is how I'm going to manage my trade. So if I have an entry over here, I'm playing the momentum to the upside and it looks bullish, everything just screams that it's going to continue, I will add. Okay, so maybe it's going to drag my entry up a little bit. I will add enough so it's still protected. I'm not going to be that person that takes profits and I add to my position and it drags it exactly to where price action is at the moment because I was too aggressive. And then price turns against me and now I'm underwater. No, I still want to have my entry where I can protect it. Right, so in this scenario is I'm still expecting new lows. 3-wave structure down, complex corrective structure up, 3-wave structure down. So you have your larger 3-wave structure. Can you see that? This is your connector wave. That's your correction. That's your correction. Just to keep it simple. To the downside, we have some interesting areas of support. Okay, so let's go to the 4-hour, 8-hour time frame. Maybe the 8-hour will work better. And just wait for this to load up. Okay. So to the downside, we have some very interesting areas of support. The first one being the 0.618, which is the minimum requirement for a Y wave. Okay, 0.618. It also coincides with a high volume node. Then we have the point of control of the entire range very close to the 786. So this is a zone where I will be paying attention. The most important level is 100,000. Okay, also a nice little round psychological number. But you have a lot of support in this zone over here. If things get really nasty to the downside, you have this consolidation area, you have the 1.236 and the 1.382. And for a Y wave, okay, this is your maximum target. $94,000, 24. So we'll just make it a round number. Okay, also from a VRVP perspective, okay, from a volume perspective, just to make it simple, let's put this on. Okay, you guys can see where the most support lies. Can you see where the most support lies? Okay, it's as clear as day. That is support. Okay, and that is support. So it's going to bounce here somewhere, guys. It's going to bounce here. For a Y wave to the downside, you ideally do not want the 1.618 to be claimed. Okay, it's not a common Y wave target. So this is where I want the Y wave to find its feet, either here or here. Right, so for now, unfortunately, the bearish scenario where we claim the lows carries the highest probability. If by some miracle price finds upwards momentum in a 5-wave structure and it goes to $130,000, well, I will be positioned. I did explain to you guys what I will be looking for. Okay, I will still take advantage of that move. But I mean, this is the zone. This is the zone, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, you can see where the highest amount of volume is. $96,436, where we have the point of control of this entire range. Okay, remember guys, the rule is as long as price does not take this low, whatever happens here, okay, as long as price does not take this low, it can even come to $83,000, which is the 786 when you take a fib from the low to the high. Okay, can you guys see it's the 786? I actually love the 786 because I know that there's going to be a lot of people waiting for this zone, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I know there's ladies inside of this live stream as well. I know there's a lot of people waiting for this zone because it is the strongest area of support. And this is why I'm highlighting this zone. Because the market loves to do two things. When everyone is watching a level, it either front runs the level and it forces people to buy in at higher levels, or it scares the crap out of everyone and it goes to the next level. And it liquidates everyone's limit orders, 100x, 200x positions inside of this zone. Okay, unfortunately it doesn't carry high probability to come to this level, but as long as price forms a higher low without claiming this low, we could still go and claim this high based on the structure that is formed over here because it's corrective and the probabilities are still high to claim this high before we claim the low. Right, and that is basically what I'm looking for, guys. So let's go and analyze Ethereum. Let's go and look at some ICP, but this is basically what I am looking for on the price of Bitcoin. Okay, not much else to be said. Now, I want to focus on ETH. Right. The scenario. Okay, guys. Yeah, on the 4-hour time frame. I know it looks a little bit messy. I'm going to go and explain it now in a moment. Okay, we've had a nice little impulse here to the upside. Okay, let me just take this out the way. After a nice little impulse to the upside, well, you want a nice little correction to the downside. Just simple, guys, simple. You have an impulse, you have a correction. You have an impulse, you have a correction. Impulse, okay, and maybe it's time for this impulse to correct itself, or it's going to make one more high. Okay, and I'll get to that scenario now. But based on what's happening over here, guys, let's just focus on what's happening over here. If you have an impulse, and now you have a correction, let's look at this little structure. Let's take the brushes out and look at what is cooking over here. So let's go to the 1-hour time frame. So this is a scenario that I have been looking at on ETH for a long time. Okay, since we formed this top and this little top over here, it really looks like you have a little contracting diagonal over here. So you could have your A, B, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could have your C. Okay, I don't know if I actually have it here marked out already, just to make it simple. I don't want to go and draw out everything. W, X, Y, A, B, C. Is it this one? I think I deleted it. Macro, we can discuss macro in a moment as well. But anyways, guys, you have a 3-wave structure down to give you your A wave. Okay, you have a 3-wave structure up in a B, and now ETH is busy with the C wave. Inside of the C wave that is now forming here to the downside, it looks like it needs one more low. And can you guys see how that ties in with what I'm looking at on Bitcoin as well? Okay. Inside of your C wave, I could see a 1, 2, 3. Inside of your third wave, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, potentially, ETH is busy with its 4th wave. Okay, fourth wave, it rejects at the trend and it comes down in a 5-wave structure to complete the C wave. I want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want the lows to be claimed again. This at the moment is my primary scenario on Ethereum. I did get the question, well, Dewald, is there a chance that the low can be in? Okay, and we're just gonna, okay, well, you know, we need to pay attention to the breakout, and you have to then label the structure as a WXY. Okay, so if I take this out the way and I do this, there's a problem. Okay, it's not an invalidation, it's just a little bit of a problem with this corrective structure. Can the low be in? Yes, the low can be in. You formed a W, okay, you formed an X to the upside that tapped the 786 or the 0.7. When your X wave taps the 0.7, it increases the probabilities that ideally your Y wave should not take the low of W. And it did. So it's not an invalidation. It's just I'm showing you why I don't like this corrective structure. Can it play out? Of course. Then inside of your Y wave, you want to see an A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of your C wave. So there's a chance that the low could be in. But now again, it carries the same probabilities as Bitcoin. Okay, can the low be in? There's problems with the bullish structure. Can the low be in on ETH? Well, there's a problem with this corrective structure. It's not invalidated. It's just probabilities because the ABC for the moment so far balances perfectly. Okay. And there is an invalidation, by the way, guys, for the ABC. So if I take this out the way, okay, so the invalidation for this scenario is, let me take this trend base FIB out the way just to clean it up, is you take your FIB retracement from the high of 2 to the low that we've created. If price claims the 0.618, then I'm throwing the scenario out the window. But as long, and you can see where ETH got rejection at the 0.382 at the moment. This is where ETH is struggling at the moment. So there's a chance that it's done. Maybe the fourth wave is done, guys. Maybe it's done. Maybe it's going to fall. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go and complete your C wave. Then you have nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Or you're going to form still a larger fourth wave. And maybe it's going to come here to the 0.5. Okay. So first leg up, another leg down, another leg up, rejects by the trend, 50%, don't want to tap the 0.618, you go down in a final move to the downside. Now this is where I get very interested, okay? This is where I get very, very interested in nice little swing positions. Okay, if price breaks out, claims the 0.618, well, then I have to consider the WXY. The WXY lowest in, okay, and I will find another way to get back in, okay, except for the spot bags that will just enjoy the momentum to the upside, because I do have a nice little spot bag, okay, where I bought ETH, which I shared with everyone during my live streams, okay. I bought a little bit of ETH in this. I think I bought a little bit over here. I bought some more over here, and I went very aggressive over here. This is where I bought ETH. Also, there's a nice little breakout. You play the breakout, okay? And I'm still in this position from a spot perspective. I did not open up a swing position on Ethereum. Okay, so I know that this structure has a high chance, regardless of what happens over here, to create a higher low and continue to the upside. Right. So just to keep the analysis simple here on Ethereum, that's all, okay? So from what could potentially play out over here is this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 5. It makes one more leg. And now you have a 5-wave structure up. After a 5-wave structure, what do you get? A larger 3-wave structure. Okay, so not great, right? Or this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want this correction to continue for longer. it needs to still continue for much longer. Okay, because if this is the end, from a timing perspective, it still needs to continue. Okay, so if I take a time fib from the low to the high, so you can see that even if ETH makes that rejection, so let's say it does this, it rejects by the 50% and it makes another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it's not going to finish after the 0.382 and it starts moving up aggressively, then I'm going to count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another scenario that I'm watching is to say that, well, what if it still does this? It comes back down and now we have an A, B, C. Okay, remember that then gives you a W. It can go back up for a X and it comes back down for a Y. Now, if price on ETH continues sideways until the 16th of October without claiming this high, the bounce could be way more bullish than just another fifth wave to the upside. Okay, so you basically want the correction to continue for a more bullish bounce. If it's going to bounce here and take the highs, then ETH is going to be in for a much, much longer boring correction, unless we get an extended fifth wave to the upside. Okay, so that's basically the technical analysis on Ethereum. Remember to smash up that like button for the education, for the alpha. Okay, now I want to go and look at ICP. As per many requests, let's go and look at ICP. Right, let's go first. Let's do some daily technical analysis. Okay, I know it's an absolute mess over here, so let me clean up. I see I've got some alarms and everything. Okay, so now on ICP, ladies and gentlemen, is that I can see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure to the upside. So for this structure to remain bullish, as long as ICP forms a higher low, okay, whoops, not that far, it still has a chance to go and claim the highs and go beyond. Okay, so for now, it is still good. Okay, so on ICP, especially when I look at the daily time frame, I like to use the log scale. It just puts everything much better into perspective. Okay, so the trends might not make sense. Let me just switch them off because they do jump around from a trend perspective. But you can see from a logarithmic perspective, ICP have not claimed the 0.886 just as yet. But there's a chance that you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your impulsive structure with high volume. And all of this is part of a corrective structure in a W, X, Y, A, B, C, doesn't really matter. A, B, C here to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more low, which we got. Okay. It's also something that I have spoken about is that do not be surprised if ICP makes another low and claims these lows. Do not be surprised. Okay. You guys can see ICP is currently in my buy zone. Okay. But locally, there's something very interesting happening. Okay. Remember, for the bulls, whatever happens over here, ICP should not claim this low. And as long as ICP can make a higher low, it still has a good chance to go and claim the highs and go beyond. Right, so now, because ICP made this little high and it fell to the downside, now I'm very interested in this local structure over here. Because the correction has already taken a lot of time, guys. If I take a time fib from the low to the high, okay, this corrective structure is almost at the 3 extension. Okay, can you guys see how long this corrective structure has been? And the longer a corrective structure takes without taking the low, the higher the probability starts to increase that this is corrective, this is impulsive, it's going to form a higher low and continue to the upside. So there's some nice little bullish signs here on ICP. Okay. So now I go onto the 1 hour time frame. I want to look at this little structure to the downside. And you can see, well, this is where my alarms are, guys. Okay, I actually got rejection at the trend. Beautiful rejection at the trend. Right, I want to see what's happening to Bitcoin, also finding some downwards momentum. So this local move to the downside, also very interesting and exactly the same as Ethereum. Almost spot on. Let's do this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is either in or it's still going to continue, but let's label this 4, and I'm looking for one more low. One more low. Looking for one more low. Alternatively, okay, and this is why I started buying ICP, is that it could also be an ABC. This is your A, this is your B, and this is your C in a 5-wave structure. And this is why I bought a little bit of ICP. Okay. But ideally what I would like to see is for ICP to hit $3.8, $3.7. This is where I will get a little bit more aggressive. Okay, this is where I plan to get a little bit aggressive, but I realize that it could be an ABC which is done. Okay, but now the problem is this structure to the upside does not look impulsive, and based on this move to the upside, it looks like there's still a high chance to claim the low. Okay, guys, if you want to sniper the lows, by all means, but I have seen price run away, okay, and it doesn't get to the lows that you, and this is why I started nibbling. I started nibbling again at ICP over here. Or you could wait for the break of the trend. I don't care. You could say, I don't care what's going to happen over here. Okay, let it fall, let it fall. Once it breaks the trend, I'm going to pay attention. Okay, depending on what your strategy is. Right, interesting areas of support to the downside is, well, now I have to speculate because you could have a larger four-wave structure. This could be your first leg up, you get a leg down, and you get another leg up, and you form an A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you go back up. Okay, so your fourth wave is either in or it still needs to complete. Okay, you can also take a trend, a FIB retracement from the high of 2 to the low of 3. Okay, ideally you do not want, well, not ideally, you do not want your fourth wave to tap the 0.618. As soon as price, so let's play this out, if price does this and it taps the 0.618, well, then it could mean that the low is in. Okay, so that is the analysis. Quick and simple. And as you can see, exactly the same as Ethereum. Ethereum is in exactly the same spot. Is it an ABC which is done? Or is it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that still needs to complete? I'm leaning on the 5. Still another low. I'm leaning more on the on another low to the downside based on the issues that I also saw on Ethereum. There's a higher chance to claim the lows again. Okay. Right, or you could just wait for the break of the trend, guys. Just wait for the break of the trend. And as soon as the 0.618 is claimed, well, then you have an increased probability that whatever happened here is finished. Okay, and it's going to continue to the upside. Right, or you could just wait. Just wait. You have your trend. You have your alarm. Well, I have my alarm set over here. Okay, what's concerning for me is this move here to the upside, guys. Like, you want to count an impulsive structure. So if I say 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, it went into the territory of 1. It's not allowed in an impulse. So now you have to consider diagonals. You have an expanding structure. Never preferred unless all other scenarios fail. So it's not a great way to start an impulse from these lows. It's not great, guys. Not great at all. Okay, maybe it gets a, maybe this is an A. That makes more sense. This is an A. It forms a B. It goes back up for C and another 5 wave to the downside, and you have a nice little 3-wave structure. So, right, that's basically the technical analysis here on ETH. Let's go through a little bit of comments. There are many channels out there, but Andy along with Dewald are by far the best out there. No fluff, no frills, but the real truth of what really going on. No moon boy. Yes, Milk's Mind and Matter. that's something that myself and Andy really strive to work towards, is to give you the bearish and the bullish probabilities and how to trade them with good risk management. I can't just be bearish and I can't just be bullish. And based on what I see in a day is that I might wake up and lean bearish, and then I will see a structure that immediately changes my mind. And I'm like, no, I should be looking for longs. I didn't expect that. Okay. It's just, you have to learn to read the structures. And it's the same here on ICP and on Ethereum. If I look at ETH over here, it just looks like it needs one more low. Okay. It really looks like it needs one more low. 1, 2, 3. Okay, already got the rejection at the 0.382. Maybe it forms a larger three-wave structure, A, B, C. Okay, rejects at the 50% and goes down one more time together with the probabilities of Bitcoin. Because if I look at Bitcoin, if I look at ICP and I look at Ethereum and I put these three together, it looks like it needs one more low. Okay, because even on Bitcoin, I'm not convinced that this is a bullish structure, guys. I'm not convinced that this is the low. And this is a 5-wave move up and a nice, beautiful 3-way, and we're just going to go, right? So if I'm expecting still more low on Bitcoin, and Ethereum is also showing me that it needs one more low, and ICP is also showing me that it needs one more low, well, then maybe we're going to get one more low. Okay. I think what makes this structure now tricky on Ethereum, for example, and on ICP is that if I measure this, okay, let's put on this bearish structure, ABC, let's put on this structure, okay. If I measure from a time perspective, how long did it take the second wave to form over here? So from this low to the high, okay, that's your second wave. And I put it here on number 3. And I zoom in. This structure is already twice the length of this structure, which means that theoretically number 4 can move here, because this is something that I'm now thinking about as well, is that if you're still going to do this from a timing perspective, it's starting to get dangerous. Okay, time is never an invalidation, but it does impact probabilities. So from a timing perspective, you already have a 4th wave that is twice the length of your second wave over here. So there's a chance that it's going to form the 5th wave now to the downside, which means that Bitcoin also, I don't know, guys, okay, it needs to drop, right? Which is doing now at the moment. Maybe the top is in now on Bitcoin. Right, but I think, there's still that chance that it makes the A, B, C, okay, maybe here by the 4 extension. You don't really want it to start hitting these levels over here. The 4 is really my maximum target. Okay, ideally, I don't want to see the 5th. I don't want to see 5 get hit. Okay, you form a larger 3-wave here. It rejects by the 50% Fibonacci. It already rejected by the 0.382. And then you fall to the downside. Right. If you won 3 trades, 4th trade, do not risk much more. Keep it stable and grow slowly. Yes, it's consistency that is the key. And Andy, the legend, yeah, guys, Andy is an absolute monster when it comes to technical analysis. I know Andy has changed his trading style ever so slightly, more looking for those swing trades, which I'm also looking for, but you have to be patient, right? You need the structure to show you the way. You have to be patient with those little swing trades. Dewald, can you connect the trend line from all-time high to B dot and see the resistance? B dot for on ETH. Oh, there we go. I was gonna ask you for which token. Okay. Dewald, can you connect the trend line from all-time high? Yes. All-time high on ETH. Oh, all-time high. There we go. All-time high. This one. Oh, another trend. Sorry, I just need to make more space here. Yeah, there's definitely another trend. Okay, there we go. And then And then you see the resistance at the 786 or at the 618 or the 50%. Okay, but yeah, I mean, there's nice little resistance there. Yeah, I'm just want to see something. If this is a WXY, okay, or if this, yeah, guys, I'm just looking. If this is a ABC, I need one more low for an ABC. Okay, this can't be an ABC. Can't be. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, it can be. 1, 2, 3. It needs one more low. I would say it needs one more low because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then you get W. So if it's going to go up for X, you need to take your fib from the all-time high. Yeah. 0.618. Well, this is a nice rejection zone over here. So, I mean, guys, I'm speculating on a larger corrective structure here on ETH. So if you get W, okay, it goes up for X, rejects at the trend, 618, beautiful X target. Because if you get a W and you get an X that does not tap the 0.7, you could have another ABC to the downside, okay, which finishes after the 0.382. Now, that would be beautiful. WXY, then this bounce could be epic. This could be a bounce that takes ETH to $8,000-$10,000, because then it means that this entire structure, okay, ended in a fifth wave over here, and this is a larger three-wave structure, and you are starting another leg, third wave to the upside. So that would be epic, right? If ETH, like I said, guys, if ETH is going to do this and it starts breaking the trend, okay, it could break, and it breaks out here and it takes the high, we're going to see a larger correction on ETH. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, hi Dewald, I'm registering to Legends community. Have you got a promotion code? No, the link is down in the description. That is the promotion. Right, link down in the description. If there are any specials or anything like that running in the future, I'll be sure to let you know. But yeah, just use the link down in the description. All the options are there and you can sign up. Right, Legends, I have unfortunately run out of time. Hope you all enjoyed the technical analysis. Remember to smash up that like button. If you want to support the channel, links are always down in the description where you get the best sign up bonuses. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you want to join the Legends Pro community, here's the link down in the description. Right, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers for now.